Hello students, welcome to the series on marketing and retail business. Today we are going to study retail management. In this we will cover unit 3 and we will study the role and responsibilities of merchandising. Now let us study the objective of this lecture. The basic objective is to study the role and responsibilities of merchandising and the factors impacting merchandising. Now let us study first the concept of merchandising. Merchandising is any practice which contributes to the sale of products to a retail consumer. Merchandising refers to a variety of products available for sale. Display of products is important to stimulate interest of and entices customers to make a purchase. Now, when we study merchandising, it is important to understand the concept. It is the practice by which we order goods and we display goods so that the sale is maximized. The customer gets attracted by the price, promotion and the variety of assortments available in a retail counter. Now, let us study merchandiser and the retail business. Merchandisers work very closely with buyers and determine range of goods to be sold, when to buy them, their prices, how they will be presented, all is decided by merchandiser. See, merchandiser is a person in the market who works in close relation with the manufacturer and with the retail organization. They observe the customer's perceptions, they do a kind of a preliminary research and try to order goods according to the manufacturer. The manufacturer, according to the price, promotion and the options which he has, tries to make a range of goods which is again taken to the retail sector. So, the role of the merchandiser is to have a connection between the buyer and the manufacturer, so that right assortment at right price at right season is purchased and is generally made available for the customer. Responsibility of merchandiser. Merchandiser is responsible for range of merchandising, content, prices and gives policy guidelines to the buyer. Merchandiser could be responsible for promotion, display, sales forecast and stock levels. So, merchandiser is the person who would generally try to understand the concept of the product, the price of the product and would allow the retailer to make him understand how to demonstrate the product to the customer, give him a preliminary training and show him how he will maximize the sales by displaying the product in a right way. So, merchandiser basically contributes to the enhanced sale of the retailer. Factors affecting decision making of merchandiser. The basic factors are produce current sales figures, the sales history reports, the produce forward estimates, visit supplier base and warehouses, determine a strategy and the category or the merchandise manager, plan the size of the buy, monitor stock management and allocation to the stores. So, what we do in this aspect is the merchandiser needs to look upon the product, what is the current sales figure, what are the sales forecast and what is the past history, and according to that he will make an anticipation that how this present year will work. After this he will design a strategy to make a assortment which is very viable in the market and would allow this viable product at a certain price to be sold by the retailers, and then if the stock is left, that comes to the sales counter. Role of merchandiser: ensuring purchase order raised to the budgets, ensuring orders from overseas factories arrive on time, taking initial brief from customers via buyer for the season. Now, the merchandiser basically decides and tries to have a budget and he takes the forward orders, like if you have to sell winter collection in December, the orders will be taken somewhere round about 6 months back, that is in summers. A brief order is taken, a kind of a demand is calculated and this demand is passed to the manufacturer. For 6 months, the manufacturer according to the orders will prepare a kind of a budget and will prepare a variety of assortments needed by the retail sector to be prepared for the next season. So, this 6 months will be dedicated for preparation and the initial brief which is given by the merchandiser is taken into consideration to make up the orders for attracting the customers. Negotiation and merchandising, negotiating cost prices with factories, negotiating on cost to customers, approving pre-production samples, organizing shipping documents and monitoring pre-production. Now, once you have a kind of a budget and the goods get ready, we try to go and negotiate with the retailers also and the manufacturers also. After this, what is the price the factories are able to give to the retailer, that will become the base which will be decided for the customer also. The pre-production procedures and the samples are approved by the retailers. After the samples are approved, the orders are prepared and negotiation is done so as to get the goods right on time. Here the shipping requirement documents and the seasonality is also taken in consideration to give comfort to the retailer and to the customer. Retail merchandising, they work closely with buyers to determine range of goods. They produce financial plans on seasonal basis, that is the sales and the stock level, the gross net margins, gross profit, space planning, markup downs. So, retail merchandising is basically to work in close relation with the factories, outlets and the manufacturers, so as to build up the financial plans by which the goods and facilities which are created have a financial viability by looking into the stock levels, the gross profits, the margins and the space planning to hold it and the cost involved on rental for warehousing. What is a buying house? Buying house work as a intermediaries between the buyer and the vendor. 60 to 70% worldwide buying routes through the buying house. These are situated predominantly at the vendor's location. They work on profits and percentage and commissions. Now, the manufacturer, because he is a technical person, he is working round the clock to only stock his products in terms to give a viable solution to the customers. He cannot look into the problems of the retailers of manufacturing or shipping, and he also cannot look into large variety of problems of the retailers. So, he would sell the product in bulk to the buying houses. These buying houses are basically intermediaries between the vendors and the buyers. They basically have a stock of not only one manufacturer, they have a stock of 10 manufacturers. So, a collection is done by these buyers, and after that the retailers go to these buyers because they have stock of all the manufacturers. They see and try to order on the basis of the samples approved. Buying house merchandiser, they bridge the gap between the buyer and the vendor. Vendor selection and vendor benchmarking is done. Analysis of current market order processing is done. Group buying, they give approval sometimes to get the products, and also a vendor audit is conducted. So, the buying house merchandiser is collecting the products from various manufacturers. They are making samples available to the retailers. They get involved in group buying so that large stock is collected at minimum price, where bulk buying gives them the quantity discounts and the cash discounts, and here a kind of a benchmarking is done to select goods and services which are best and which are viable for the customers. What is buyer? A buyer is a brand. We have buyers like Gap, Nike, Adidas, they are all brands as well as buyers. Most of the brands in the world are outsourced, and they basically bring their merchandising from various other agencies also. So, we have famous brands like Nike, Adidas, which are very big groups selling products to the global market, but everything is not manufactured in their own premises. They try to outsource design, they outsource materials, they try to mix match and try to give a solution to the customers. Like even these brands have to collaborate with technological companies, IT companies, to have gadgets which can be installed in the shoes to give comfort. Like even shoes are coming up where you can regulate your total body, that is you can see what is your pulse rate, what is your body mass index. A watch comes when an athlete is wearing these shoes, he tries to regulate his body through the technological gadgets which are attached to the shoes. So, these brands, they are not only products which are sold to the consumers, but they are brands who themselves are buyers, and they are outsourcing many technical gadgets and supporting varieties from many other companies. Buyer, many buyer brands have their local office near the manufacturing facility. These offices are called the liaison offices. These liaison officers work under the head office of the buyer. Now, once the manufacturing station or base is different, they have liaising offices which negotiate with the retailer and try to bring out the solutions for what they want. Every retailer, according to the budget and according to the market and according to the demand, gives a kind of a order, and according to those specifications, these liaising officers transfer the demands to the manufacturing organizations. Buyer merchandiser. The vendor selection and benchmarking is done. It is to work between head office and factory to take the samples on time and to give approval in time. So, they basically collect the samples from the factory, they give it to the retailers. These retailers, on basis of the approval, give a kind of a consent. This approval and consent is given to factory on time. Buyer merchandiser is basically involved in merchandise planning, vendor management, on time shipment, quality audits and compliances. So, what is the role of buyer merchandiser? Obviously, he will collect the orders, he will do a planning of the merchandiser, he will do the planning of the merchandise, that is how he will give this merchandise order to the various vendors, how the goods will be shipped and how the documents will be collected and a quality check is done through a audit, and reporting is done both to the factory people and to the retailers. Factors impacting merchandising. This is the product development sampling, the color and the fabric approval, the fit approval, the documentation, the costing and negotiation, trim confirmations, testing, vessel flight planning, fit, that is the pre-production approval, fabric booking, production and line planning, quota embargo movements, maintaining records, planned factory capacity allocation, production follow up, quality audits and shipment status. So, there are many factors, basically not only the production aspect, you produce samples, you get approvals, you do the approvals in terms of the color, fabric, testing, fit, then obviously the market viability in terms of the basic bookings and the services required, the support infrastructure acquired, the launching pad required for the operations of these gadgets or instruments, whatever we are manufacturing, everything is done before the products are coming to the retail organization. Planning and preparing for sale, it involves building a relation with buyers, analysts, stores and suppliers and distributes. So, when you prepare a kind of a sales forecast, you have to sit with your buyers, you have to sit with the market analyst and the store people, that is who stock the goods, and according to the capacity and the market options, you try to plan a kind of a seasonal figure for the year round record. How do you move the goods to the market so as to earn and get the revenue for the company. Building data for display, building comprehensive data to work closely with visual display staff to enhance the visibility of goods is to maximize sales. Now, after all this planning, you need a staff people who would take up the data of comparison, that is, if you have a product, how it is compared to the market competitors, what are the advantages, what is the comparison on the basis of cost, and if cost is not the comparison, what is the comparison on the basis of the facilities. This comparison on the basis of the winning competitive edge has to be displayed on the screens so as to convince the customers and move the product in the market. Planning budgets and layouts, producing layout plans for stores, forecasting profits and sales, optimizing sales volume, planning budget, sales forecast and controlling stock level based on forecast for the season are important. So, when you plan the budgets, obviously you need to understand that will be the layout plans for the stores, how the assortments are coming to the company, what is the price, what is the profit, what is the return on this investment, and on the basis of the return on the investment you try to forecast that what the next season will be all about. Using software for projections, using computer software to produce sales projection and analyzing every aspect of best sellers is important. Maintaining awareness of competitors' performance also adds to your volume of sales. Now, we have softwares by which we are comparing that what we are doing, what the market competitors are doing, how they are growing and how do we need to rectify our strategies to connect more with the customers. Monitoring and making financial presentations. Monitoring slow sellers and taking action to reduce prices or set promotions is necessary. Gathering information on customers' reaction to products is also important. Sometimes it is important when we launch an assortment line. There are fast selling products which move very fast in the market. There are slow selling products which move slowly. So, with the fast selling products we have no problems, we have already earned. But to move the slow moving products we need to go for promotions, we need to build up packages. That is, we combine 3-4 packets and come out with a packet that we will give you this item free. So, this also plan has to be done, and this has to come as a policy aspect from the merchandiser to the retailer, so that the goods move out to the consumer's house. Meeting suppliers to manage the distribution of stock. Meeting suppliers to manage distribution of stock is by negotiating cost prices, ordering stock, agreeing timescales and delivery dates, completing necessary paperwork, dealing with any problem or delays as they arise. So, when we meet with the suppliers, we negotiate on cost, we negotiate on stock, we also negotiate how the products will move into the market at what pace. And when the sales are there, obviously it adds to the profitability of the company. So, we complete all the paperwork and come to a final solution and give a best option to the retailer and the customer, where it is a winning strategy for both. The solution, whatever you decide for the products in the market, has to have a win-win impact for the manufacturer, for the vendor, for the retailer, and obviously for the customer. Training the supervising staff. Managing and training supervising staff is to build positive relations, to create a team where you design employee loyalty programs to enhance job satisfaction. You always need to have a positive relation and a kind of a positive impact, so as to build a kind of a long term relation with your staff and your people, who will carry word of mouth to the customers. Then we have merchandising specialist working in market. He visits the assigned retail stores to maximize awareness and sales of company's product. He confirms that the store is displaying product in proper quantity and placement according to brand specifications. He negotiates for retail space for best position. Now, most of the big brands have the merchandise specialist, who would generally have a liaison and a connection with the mall or the retailer. He will go there, he would make the retailer understand the specifications of the product and ask for the best space, so that the customer can see the product, the display and the demo of the product in a proper way. It is important to decorate the product with the proper ambience, which the specialist, according to his creative and innovative ability, would come out with the best idea to project the product in the market. He builds and maintains a strong relationship with business partners. He works closely with sales associate and managers to notify them of future promotion. He creates changes in pricing structure. He scans existing inventory to generate replenishment. So, he is a person who will build a relationship of the retailer with the manufacturer. He would understand the problems of the retailer, would convey the problems to the manufacturer. He will negotiate on price, and he will also negotiate on the kind of the space that is available for the product display. Now, let us study global retailing. There is a pressure for all the retailers to globalize, and the basic factors impacting the merchandising are: there is a need for quality real estate locations, there is a need to develop logistics and other aspects in countries, there is a need to develop supplier relationships in new markets, there is differences in zoning, taxes, hours of working, operation, labours and regulations. Culturally sensitive packaging and adjustments is important. Now, when we talk about the merchandising, the basic factors important related to this aspect are also the global issues. The global merchandising and the global retailing have become important in modern era, where not only the domestic factors impact the retail operations, but it is the need for growing options to connect with the customers who are demanding culturally viable and specific destination oriented products according to the specializations of the country. But the problems are of the real estate, the problems of the currency, foreign exchange, the laws, the culture and other political aspects which impact the relationships of the retailers with the international manufacturers and the international suppliers and the vendors. Marketing and product differentiation becomes the basis of success. Differentiation is the act of designing a set of meaningful differences to distinguish the company's offering from the competitor's offering. That is, these words are quoted by Kotler. Now, Kotler as a marketer has given a view on product differentiation because the retailers are offering merchandising of many companies. The merchandise has to stand out from the other company's product. So, each product has to be differentiated in such a way that the unique specialization attracts the customer. It is important to focus on corporate image, product positioning and brand equity. Trust and relationship are important for organizations to create value for the society. It is important for traditional and virtual companies. Now, when we talk about brands which are offered by retailers, the merchandise specialist basically tries to work on valuable brands and position the product in relation to the other competitors who have status. Because when you work with good people and when you work with good organizations, your product also get the associated advantage in the shadow of the quality of the big brands. So, it is important you maintain trust and relationship with stores who have a kind of a relationing with very big brands. So, this will also push your products in the market. Building trust and relationships. A brand is a consistent and a holistic face of any company which it presents. It serves as an unmistakable symbol for products and services. Business card, a company profits on the competitive scene to set itself apart from the rest. So, brand is the face of the company. It basically offers a value to the customers. So, the merchandiser basically has to look into what are the best brands, how they are negotiated to get the best price for the manufacturer and for the retailers. Both get the benefit because it is adding up the credibility of quality and solution to the customers. Business card of the company basically is important because it is the face value by which we negotiate. The brand basically helps the company to move in the market. Trust is to business, so is trademark to a brand. Brand equity built on the foundation of a protected trademark is important. Brand trademark can be disposed of separately from other company assets. It gives rights that can be legally protected. Now, what is trust to relationship? Same, the brands can be important if they have a trademark. Trademark is a symbol which is protected and cannot be copied. This trademark protected basically gives credibility to the company that when you cannot be copied, you have a proprietary right by which you can give the best solutions to the customers. Otherwise, same solutions and same products which are manufactured in the market by the competitors can obviously shun your customers because fake products increase dissatisfaction in the market. To give a viable solution to the customer which cannot be copied in the market makes the customers comfortable and connects the customers to market in a better way. The brand and the trademark basically is a legal concept. It is a marketing concept because registration of trademark adds value as it protects its other inherent assets. The brand profile and positioning may vary over time, but trademark protection remains the same. So, when we talk about the products or the merchandising which are protected by trademark, they give trust, they give peace and they give credibility to the retailer. The retailer is comfortable because by carrying these products, he is not in problems to handle the grievances of the customers. The protected products give quiet solutions to the customers, you do not have complaints, so you do not have issues in the market. You are less devoid of facing the court case and the other lawsuits because you give viable solutions which are tested, which are protected and which have a solution to give quality to the customers. It is a kind of a asset which companies inherent of years work which has been done to compile the services and the innovations in the product to generally manage a kind of a viable product in the market. These assets cannot be copied and they give a right to the company to carry the legacy of their operations and their value to the market. Now, let us study the summary of this lecture. In this lecture, we have studied the role and the responsibilities of merchandising. We have also studied the factors. Merchandising is the practice of bringing the products to the retailer's organization and displaying them. The merchandising specialist negotiate between the factory and the retailer to give you the best solutions. I hope the students must have understood the various factors from global to local which are impacting the retailers' operations in the market. Thank you, students.